Good afternoon, Hail Stalkers. This is lead meteorologist John Schkett for our daily 12 p.m. update here on this rainy Wednesday here in Oklahoma City. Have a little bit to talk about today, and we're going to be looking ahead again at next week. There's actually a couple hail risks kind of spattering and kind of surprising different areas of the country the next couple days. But first, we got to make sure we talk about those push notifications. Make sure you guys have them set up on your desktop computer so you can get them onto your app. Notification options when you log into Hailtrace on your computer. Go to notification settings and you can select the various options for where you want to get those notifications for. If this is not your first time watching, you probably know the deal by now. You can do your phone, you can do on your email or on your desktop computer, and what regions you'd like to be notified for, whether for cities, states, or the whole country. Here's our forecast for today. We gotta go way down into what I like to call Mexico, Texas. We go very far towards right along the Rio Grande River, and even potentially San Antonio. I think it's a very outside chance that you could see a storm of that far to the north. I think a lot of it, most of our hail today is probably gonna be in actual Mexico, all over the border. But Eagle Pass and Laredo, each I have about a 5% chance of some storms anytime after about 4 o'clock. I think they're going to start out kind of isolated, then turn into a squall line MCS, which really mitigates that hail chances. So I have up to ping pong ball size hail possible. But for the most part, I think a large area here, you're going to see some beneficial rain, but minimal hail. And again, any stronger updrafts could have to ping pong ball size hail, especially Eagle Pass and Laredo. And this is again anytime after 4 o'clock Central tonight, or today, I mean. And we also, tomorrow, looking ahead, we're over on the west coast now in the Pacific Northwest. We have a chance of possibly up to some quarter-size hail going tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening on the lee side of the Cascade Mountains. So that's on the east side of the mountains, the dry side, conveniently. And this is pretty much anywhere probably from just south of Bend, Oregon, down into Northern California. A fairly rural section of the country, but it's still notable nonetheless. I think even going into Friday, we could see a couple storms possibly closer to Boise, Idaho. So again, kind of a weird area for there to be storms here at the end of April, especially when Oklahoma has had a total dearth of any sort of activity. But that's the weather for you. So when will Oklahoma, when will Texas, when will the more classic severe weather areas get storms? I'm going to jump into that and actually show you guys. If you've been watching us this week, we've been kind of tracking stuff that's going to be happening going into next week, and I'm getting more confident about specific days that I think there's going to be severe weather. I think severe weather is going to happen next week for sure across the southern plains. The big question is going to be exactly where. I'm looking ahead right now. This is the latest American model run. I also have the European model. I'm going to show you that because there's some very major differences between the two, and I actually had the time to load it up to show you guys. This is the latest. So this is the latest run of the American model. Again, we got to move through this week. This weekend looks pretty quiet. We have another really intense trough coming down. It's going to kill any instability we have through the weekend. But as we get closer towards the end of Sunday into Monday, you see this system here. It's going to make that moisture return start onto your Sunday. And I honestly think that we could see a couple storms in far western Texas Panhandle into New Mexico, possibly a little further north into eastern sections of Colorado. I think there might be a couple storms that fire there. More of a storm chaser's paradise than actual you guys, the restoration industry carrying, because there's not a lot out there. That's for your Sunday. I think only a couple storms there. Monday, things are getting a little bit better. You can see the trough really starting to kick a lot further to the south towards Southern California, down south of even Vegas. This is much more favorable of a severe weather pattern. We have a big ridge in the east. Finally, some moisture return. That cold air is getting shoved back into Canada where it belongs this time of year and not down here in the United States. And so good moisture return is going to happen here, and I think we'll see some severe weather on Monday. Again, this is going to be in the Texas Panhandle, places like Amarillo possibly seeing some storms. And we move forward a little more towards Tuesday, and things could look pretty impressive in terms of what we haven't had any of this year, and that's a setup in the southern plains. I think we'll see some severe weather across Kansas, Oklahoma, down further south into Texas. This is on Tuesday. Now the big question is, where's that dry line got to set up? I'll show you guys that in just a second when I push a little forward more into Wednesday. And I think things might get a little messy on Wednesday, but there is that chance for some storms on Wednesday as well across, again, places like Kansas, Oklahoma, down into Texas. And I will go ahead and I'll show you guys where that dry line is expected to be, where we're expecting storms to happen. And then I'm going to show you what the European model has and the major differences that they're showing of where that dry line is, because as I'm sure you guys know, especially if you live in Oklahoma and Texas, where that dry line sets up really determines where the biggest hail ends up being concentrated at. I continue moving forward. I'm going to just kind of go through the next weekend. I haven't had a chance to look at this yet either. Once that system kicks through and we get towards the weekend, I think the weekend might actually be fairly quiet. And then this, well, this is not the greatest. There's a major ridge here, so it might be another little period of quiet weather. However, getting towards the end of the run, it looks like we have another trough trying to at least attempt to come in. And this is the tail end of the run. Things get a little wonky here, but I'm just kind of reading between the lines and seeing that the big ridge will only last a couple of days, and then we'll probably see more severe weather likely to come in your second week of May. So things are going to be getting a little more active, which I know for us, that's what we're looking forward to, and I know you guys especially are really excited, really getting antsy about severe weather. So I'm going to move forward. I'm going to show you guys the moisture return now. So I'm showing where all this moisture is going to happen. We see on Sunday the moisture is beginning to return. We're actually starting to see some sort of green and blue showing up on the map all the way up to Canada, which has not happened yet this year. We move forward and we see here on Sunday, there's marginal moisture, so I wouldn't be surprised if a storm or two pops out in New Mexico. We get closer towards, we get Monday, much better moisture return, very easy to see dry line from just west of Dodge City down through probably bisecting Amarillo and down towards Lubbock and into Odessa and Midland. A lot of moisture here, probably some storms forming in the Texas Panhandle, moving into western Oklahoma. We move forward to Tuesday, and then Tuesday has a much better dry line. A very good dry line in western Oklahoma and down by Abilene. So storms will be firing on the dry line over here. Now the big question is going to be, is that where it's actually going to set up? We have a very major drought going on, and that tends to cause the dry line to go a little further east than what is modeled. Even though we've gotten some rain, I think that's not going to make a huge difference in terms of what to expect for where that dry line is going to end up. And here on Wednesday, you see this sets up right up on I-35. There'd be storms firing there. This would be Wednesday for you guys, would be based on this particular model, would be where you're looking out for DFW, for Oklahoma City, Wichita, Kansas City, etc. I-35 corridor on Wednesday, assuming there isn't a ton of morning convection to kind of screw around with things a little bit. But again, very ample moisture in place. There's going to be a lot of instability. I can show you guys the instability as well. We're getting a little close enough now where I can start showing the CAPE, the available potential energy. Here we go. Let me get, so you can have the times on here. And you can see once we get towards suddenly, lots of colors showing up here on Monday, narrow band, and then we get closer and closer. And here on Wednesday, this would be, again, very large hail would be possible with this. Again, tons of instability here across Oklahoma and Texas. Much more classic type of setup for the Southern Plains and not this garbage that we've had the past month or so. And with that, I'm going to now show you guys the European model. Completely different website here, different model. And we're going to, I'm going to pretty much jump straight to Tuesday. That's where the real difference in the models are going to lie, is on Tuesday. Let me jump ahead. Let me look here. So here we go. This is on Tuesday. I know it's a little harder for you guys to see. Let me let me try to get the regions here. South Central U.S. There we go. All right, so there we go. We're now across Oklahoma and Texas, and pretty easy to see. This is on. So this is a Tuesday evening. We're talking about Wednesday being a bigger day. Now this model, the European model, is showing a dry line just to the west of I-35 on Tuesday. So this would be more favorable for very intense storms across the Dallas area, Oklahoma City area, up towards Wichita, mainly because Tuesday there's not going to be any morning convection, any morning showers to possibly wash out stuff for the risk area. Wednesday, there's that potential that whatever happens on Tuesday could wash out the certain areas on Wednesday. Now, if this were to verify right now, there would be big time storms firing right along the dry line. Again, kind of think like 2013 is the analog there. A lot of you guys probably remember the big storms. They formed just west of Oklahoma City, just west of Dallas, and then moved through the area. That's what the European model is showing right now. So again, there's a major difference, obviously, right here. So right by I-35 on Tuesday, and then the GFS, the American model, has it right on the border back here. That's, you know, it's a couple 100-mile difference. I'm betting there's going to be probably likely somewhere in the middle. So this has it right by I-35. I bet the mean, for example, the average would be like somewhere by Weatherford, Oklahoma, and sending south down towards Abilene. So that we're going to have to watch that very carefully. But I do, again, the takeaway from all this is I expect severe weather next week somewhere between, for people, I know most of you guys, you know, care about Dallas and Oklahoma City and places like that along I-35 in the Southern Plains. Somewhere between Tuesday and Wednesday, I think that's what we're going to be looking at. And the potential is there right now to be a pretty significant event. The first real event, honestly, of the year, if you exclude just the Dallas specials that we've had the past month and a half or so. Okay, Art Wallace asks, what's the chance again for Corpus in South Texas? Corpus Christi, I do not think you're going to see anything this week. Nothing today even. The risk for today would be west of San Antonio. So San Antonio points west to the Rio Grande River, down south through probably just west of McAllen, Texas. Wichita, Kansas, come on with it. Yeah, Kansas, much like Oklahoma, Kansas has been completely shut out so far for the severe weather. Sans a couple little storms in rural areas here and there, and especially for tornadoes. I believe, let's see, today is the 25th. As of tomorrow, once we get past tomorrow, we will break the all-time record for the slowest start to tornado season in Oklahoma. The previous record was set on April 26, 1962, which is turning out to be a fairly close analog once all the sudden stratospheric warming and all the other things that kind of mess with our forecast all kind of settled in. And just looking at what happened, we're following 1962 eerily close, or even to the point where there was an EF3 tornado in Jacksonville, Alabama in mid-March of 1962, and there was also one approximately almost the same exact day this year. So it was just kind of creepy how sometimes weather repeats itself a little bit. And just a little preview of that, May and June were very active in 1962. So you don't want to lean on the analogs too heavily, but the fact that that is showing that, you know, it's not all doom and gloom just because April was quiet. All right, Abilene, Texas. Yeah, Abilene next week, anywhere from Monday through Wednesday, I'd want to say. Sunday, there's a chance for some severe weather, but I think that's more for a storm chasing perspective than it is for a restoration industry really caring about it perspective. Yes, May 24th, 2011. There you go. That is a good analog for not as intense. May 24th, 2011 was a very intense version of what this is showing right here. That's a much more volatile. May 24th, 2011 was super intense from Kansas down through the Dallas area. A lot of big tornadoes. I think there was an F5 that day, and a lot of massive hail, especially in the Dallas area. That is for those of you guys who remember, that's a pretty good thing to think about for what we're thinking about next week. Just maybe scaled down a little bit, not that intense, not that crazy. That was one of those all-timer days. But so that's what we're looking at. Not gonna linger on it too much longer. I'm gonna kind of wrap this up here. We'll of course have another video again tomorrow with the latest model updates, looking at what we're expecting, and of course giving these little. Whoop! Oh, I'm getting a phone call here. Is there a chance? Yeah. So, yes, hopefully we can get some storms up towards Wichita and everything. Oh, we got a whole bunch of comments. Just comments double-checked. Anyway, so we'll have another update tomorrow at noon. Again, the weather is pretty quiet, seeing how what we're forecasting tomorrow is in Oregon and California. So we'll, of course, have more updates leading up through the remainder of this week. And then probably won't have any videos over the weekend, since it will be fairly quiet, unless Sunday has something exciting. And then next week, All Hands on Deck will be ready to go for some weather. Make sure you follow us on Facebook so you don't miss anything exciting in case we have a surprise storm, obviously live coverage, maybe not today, but in the future. Follow our page, hit see first, so that way you guys don't miss any of our posts. Even if you miss that push notification, you open up Facebook, pops up right at the top of your news feed. And if you have any further questions, give us a call. You can email us or visit our website, hailtrace.com. If you want to ask any questions about our products, about further weather questions I may not have answered here, you can go and click on the intercom icon in the lower right-hand corner of your screen, and that will send out an instant message to the entire staff, and we'll usually answer those pretty quickly, especially after hours when we're not at the office to answer the phone. See, somebody said, John Salvador said, I don't believe you. Well, we'll see. We'll see if things can really turn around here. It's pointing to a more active May. Just the fact that there's a ridge in the east and a trough in the west is gives me much more confidence that we're going to see some severe weather, and that light at the end of the tunnel is much closer than I was fearing it might have been. But with that, I'm going to wrap things up, guys. I'll see you guys again tomorrow at 12 p.m. like we do every single day here on our Hail Trace page. And I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Have a great rest of your Wednesday.